Milo Vance knew two things that morning. He shouldn't have trusted alien tequila, and he definitely shouldn't have raised his hand during the ceremonial bidding of harmony. But here he was, standing in the middle of the galactic peace auction, clutching a data pad he couldn't read, next to a 7-foot-tall alien woman with glowing cyan eyes and a very literal steel collar around her neck. You are now the legal custodian of one Class V companion entity, Zelna of the Firebone line, the robotic host said, with all the enthusiasm of a tax form. Congratulations on your acquisition. Milo squinted. Wait, I thought this was a charity raffle? The translator chip buzzed in his ear. Zelna turned toward him slowly, her voice like velvet draped over a blade. Remove my slave collar, human, or I won't make it through the night. His eyes widened. Are we talking romantic metaphor or life-threatening malfunction? Because I gotta say, I'm flattered either way, but I only packed one condom. Her expression didn't change. I have been bound for 413 cycles. My systems are suppressing memories and combat protocols. Your refusal to release me will initiate critical collapse. Do you understand? Milo nodded like an idiot. Yeah, totally. Emotional baggage. Been there. Behind them, the auction continued. An octopus-shaped diplomat won a sentient bathtub. A lizard general bought a singing stone. Meanwhile, Milo tried to avoid eye contact with Zelna's everything. She stood tall, sculpted like a warrior goddess, yet wrapped in ceremonial silk that suggested violence and seduction were twin siblings. And the collar, thick, glowing, humming, looked like it belonged in either a military lab or a very specific kind of club downtown. Listen, he said, stepping closer. This whole ownership thing? Bit of a misunderstanding. I just raised my hand because I thought the refreshments guy waved at me. And also, you said something about critical collapse. Is that like an allergy attack? Should I get you water? No, she said, monotone. What I need is liberation. The collar contains a logic lock keyed to human neural frequencies. Only you can disable it. By touch. Prolonged contact. Pressure-based trigger. He blinked. Did you just ask me to choke you? I am giving you the opportunity to fulfill your contractual obligations. Right. That sounds legal. Also oddly hot. A diplomat floated by, giving them a side-eye before retreating. Milo tried not to panic. His species had barely gotten into the galactic community last year, and already he'd somehow ended up with an enslaved alien assassin concubine who was talking in erotic riddles and military-grade threats. Okay, real talk, Milo said. You're not gonna, explode or kill me if I press the wrong button, right? Her eyes glowed faintly. That depends. Are you often incompetent? I once poured soup into a USB port. So yes. She looked him up and down. Fascinating. So much chaos. So little restraint. You should see me on laundry day. Another pause. Zelna stepped forward, lowering her voice until it was a whisper against his throat. Take off my slave collar, or I won't make it through the night. Milo gulped. You keep saying that and I keep picturing things. Then act. He reached up hesitantly, hand trembling near the collar. It pulsed beneath his fingers. Cool metal, but something in it responded to his touch. Soft click, electric tension. No turning back if I do this? He asked. None. He pulled his hand back. Then let's definitely wait until I'm drunk again. Zelna didn't flinch. Delay increases system degradation. You are jeopardizing a Class V asset and violating Galactic Harmony Clause 17C. I'm violating more than that just looking at you. She didn't laugh, but something flickered in her eyes. Interest? Disgust? Hard to tell. Suddenly a voice echoed. Please escort your companion from the stage. Next item, an empathic war drum with residual screams of its last owner. Milo took Zelna's arm. Come on, assassin lady. Let's go figure out whether this is a romance, a hostage situation, or an interstellar HR violation. She followed silently, hips swaying in that not human, too perfect way that said either designed for combat or designed for something else entirely. Milo's imagination filled in the blanks poorly. They exited into the docking hallway. Alone now, Milo turned, biting his lip. Just so I'm clear, when you say you'll die if I don't remove the collar. She cut him off. Not death. Transformation. One you may not survive. He exhaled. Again, is that a euphemism? I possess 41 martial protocols. Most are lethal. Milo backed into the wall. So just to confirm, you're an ancient warrior, enslaved in a ceremonial sex collar, and the only way to stop your apocalyptic brain reboot is cuddling? Her eyes narrowed. Prolonged neuropressure. Activation through bonding contact. Yes. He sighed. You aliens really need to fix your interface language. That sounds like foreplay. She leaned closer again. Is it? His ears turned red. Depends what you want it to be. Zelna tilted her head. Fascinating. Milo wasn't sure if she was about to kiss him or crush his trachea. Either way, he knew one thing for certain. He was definitely in over his head. And somehow, that wasn't even close to the worst part of his day. Milo sat in his quarters staring at Zelna across the room, trying to figure out whether he was about to get seduced, assassinated, or turned into a cautionary tale for future Earth interns. She stood in front of the mirror, fingers tracing the collar's edges, her reflection as unreadable as a Martian tax code. He cleared his throat. So, when you say transformation, what are we talking here? Like a sexy personality shift, or more like a Exorcist reboot? Her fingers paused. My primary combat routines are sealed behind suppression layers. The collar prevents full reinitialization. But now that I'm registered to a neurocompatible host, the protocols are waking. That's a long way of saying you're turning into a murder machine if I don't press your neck the right way. She turned slowly. I'm turning back into who I was. And if you delay further, I might forget I ever agreed to protect you. He stood. Who said anything about protecting? I thought this was a mutually beneficial, emotional entanglement. You thought I was a gift. I thought you were flirting. I was warning. Sexy warning, though. She blinked, then walked forward, closing the space between them. Human males are strange. You interpret threat displays as mating rituals. I've been on Earth dating apps. That's pretty standard. Zelna raised her hand, palm hovering just above his chest. You're underdeveloped. Limited musculature. Symmetrical facial structure. High dopamine scatter. Emotionally volatile. And yet... Don't stop now. I'm oddly turned on. Your presence reduces my internal conflict response by 12%. I'm practically a stress reliever. Her hand touched his shirt. Sparks jumped between their skin. Not metaphorical ones. Actual static discharges. Milo winced. She nodded. Neural signature confirmed. Glad we had this moment. Let's never do it again. You're scared. I'm aroused. Big difference. Zelna walked past him to the bed, sitting in perfect posture. You fear what I become. But you are also curious. About which part? She looked over her shoulder. All of it. He stepped closer. So what happens if I, go for it? Remove the collar. Activate the routines. Push the mystery button. Then I become whole again. And I survive that? That depends on your stamina. He coughed. Physically or emotionally? Yes. Milo hesitated. I've only done this kind of thing with people who didn't threaten global annihilation if I got it wrong. You haven't done this kind of thing at all. He frowned. Okay, no need to be psychic and insulting. You radiate uncertainty. Your heart rate elevated when I approached. Your voice pitch shifts when I speak in suggestive tones. Maybe I just like your voice. I could weaponize my voice. I've done it before. Milo raised his hands. All right, lady, I get it. You're lethal, layered, and maybe a little lonely. But if I take that collar off, and you turn into a walking apocalypse, I'm going to be very upset. She leaned back, brushing hair from her neck. Do it. What now? Yes. I haven't even had lunch. You may not need it. That's somehow more terrifying than reassuring. He stepped closer again, hands hovering near her collar. Just once, I'd like to be in a situation where the phrase take it off means exactly what I think it means. Then take it off. Milo reached forward, fingers brushing the cool metal. It felt alive. As if it were waiting. As if it knew. Before I do, he said, this doesn't bind me to anything like eternal servitude, right? No space marriage, no sacred blood pact? You would be remembered. Not helping. She stared up at him. Remove it, and I'll either become your guardian, or your greatest mistake. He exhaled. Fantastic odds. The collar clicked. Nothing exploded. For a moment. Then the lights dimmed. The hum of the ship faltered. Her eyes pulsed a deep crimson for half a second before returning to cyan. She inhaled like someone breathing for the first time in centuries. Connection unlocked, she whispered. Milo backed up. Okay, that sounded like a software update announcement. What exactly did I just unleash? Zelna stood. Every movement was sharper, smoother, heavier with intent. I remember. Remember what? My purpose. Please let it be peacekeeping. She smiled faintly. Vengeance. Milo's throat dried up. That's not sexy anymore. I was bred for diplomacy. Rewired for assassination. Trained in seduction. My current form is all that remains of what they couldn't kill. You're describing a Bond villain with trust issues. I'm describing myself. You're describing my ex, actually. She stepped forward. He held up a hand. Hold up. Let's just talk this out. Maybe have a drink. Watch some old Earth comedy. It helps with, vengeance cravings. I do not require comedy. You do. Everyone does. Watch one episode of The Office and tell me it doesn't change your DNA. She paused. Your persistence is distracting. Distracting is how I survive most conflicts. Why? Because talking fast and looking confused has gotten humans out of every tight spot in history. Zelna tilted her head. Then perhaps you are more dangerous than I thought. He straightened. Finally. Someone sees it. Her lips curled faintly. We shall see how long you last, Milo Vance. You've activated me. Is that another euphemism? It is now. He sighed, defeated and oddly proud. Perfect. The hallway outside Milo's quarters was filled with a high-pitched whine, like a microwave warming up an existential crisis. The ship's AI flickered, unable to decide whether to sound an alarm or play elevator music. Milo stood frozen, one hand still hovering where the collar had once been, the other gripping the doorframe like it might offer salvation. Was that you? He asked. Zelna's eyes flickered again. Partial integration complete. Environmental systems responding to my awakening. Did you just hack the entire ship with a Sci? My presence now interfaces with all systems on a proximity pulse. Your ship's firewalls are decorative. Thanks. I installed those myself. She looked down the hall, expression calculating. Security will arrive in 90 seconds. They will misinterpret my signal as a threat. You're broadcasting planetary death vibes. It's an easy mistake. If they attack me, I will respond. With diplomacy? With efficiency. Milo paced in a circle. Okay, I can fix this. I'll just call the admin AI. Say you're a diplomatic guest. Say you're not actively warming up genocide subroutines. I cannot lie. Can you whisper ominously in a nice way? She said nothing. He tapped his wristband, activating the comms. Hi, yes, this is Ambassador Vance. There's been a mild, personal emergency. A guest of mine accidentally interfaced with the whole system. No need for weapons or alarms. A mechanical voice replied. Your quarters are emitting level 6 instability waves. You have 10 seconds to stand clear. Milo looked at Zelna, You hear that? She nodded. Yes. I'm calibrating. For what? Optimal angles. Of peace? Of decapitation. He grabbed her arm. We're leaving. Now. You cannot outrun their detection. I'm not outrunning them. I'm outrunning you. Because you are terrifying. She didn't resist. Then lead, human. They moved fast, Milo dragging her through the service corridors while lights flickered and alarms escalated to a threatening hum that sounded like someone humming Beethoven through a hangover. He pulled her into a maintenance lift, jamming the control panel with an earth coin because Buttons hated him back. Zelna stood beside him like a lioness in a birdcage, still and too aware. You're calm, he said. This vessel is irrelevant. It's our only ride. It will not survive the next 24 hours. You're saying that like it's a weather forecast. The lift shook. A low boom sounded somewhere above them. Zelna turned. They've activated the null net. If we remain on board, we die. Milo slapped the panel. Then where do we go? You want to hijack an escape pod and launch a public statement titled Oops, I woke a goddess? I want you to listen. I'm listening. She leaned in. Your species fascinates me. You are chaotic. Emotional. Prone to poor decisions with bold confidence. Thanks. We call that charisma. Your neural patterns are unstable. But compatible. With what? My evolution. The doors slid open. They stepped into the docking bay. Chaos. Droids scrambled. Alarms shrieked. Security turrets aimed at everything. A ship engine pulsed red. A guard spotted them. Freeze! Milo raised his hands. We're innocent. Zelna tilted her head. I am not. She moved before he could stop her. Fast. Elegant. Horrifying. She didn't strike, she whispered. Her voice was a series of calculated tones that hit the guard's ears like lullabies dipped in malware. He dropped, dazed, babbling about his childhood hamster. Milo stared. You defeated him with cooing? I use frequency collapse. It's humane. Terrifying. But humane. Another guard charged. Zelna flicked her wrist. A wave of static burst outward. The guard froze mid-step and collapsed in a dazed heap, snoring. Milo backed up. We need to leave before you knock out the entire galaxy with bedtime songs. They're not meant to sleep. Their brains reboot from confusion. Even worse. They entered a small cruiser bay. Zelna moved to the interface. It lit up before she touched it. Ship recognizes me. Of course it does. It also recognizes you. What? Why? You triggered a binding code. Was that the caller? No. The kiss. Milo stammered. That wasn't a kiss. That was an accidental brush during a panic stumble. It registered. I'm registered now? With what? Your ancient murder network? Yes. Awesome. Just what I wanted. A galactic kill account in my name. Zelna stepped onto the ship's loading ramp. Once I'm fully reactivated, I will be hunted. And I'm coming along because you're the key. Key to what? Everything. Milo exhaled. No pressure. She sat in the pilot's seat. Once we launch, you must remain near me. Our proximity maintains my stabilization. I'm your living USB dongle. Great. The engines hummed. The bay doors opened. Milo looked back one last time. What happens when we leave this place? Zelna didn't look up. War. Chaos. And possibly, liberation. He raised an eyebrow. Sounds like a first date gone wrong. I've had worse. I haven't. The ship rose. Behind them, the security team scrambled too late. Turrets powered down. Lights shorted. A dull, echoing boom marked their exit into open space. Milo flopped into a seat beside her. You know, I was supposed to spend this week avoiding paperwork. You succeeded. He glanced sideways. And now I'm your registered activation partner. Yes. Do I get a certificate or? You get me. Will that kill me? Possibly. He closed his eyes. Well, at least we're being honest now, she whispered, voice smooth and electric. You're not ready for what's coming. I was never ready for you. Milo awoke to the sound of a polite alarm that somehow still managed to feel sarcastic. The ship's interface had replaced the usual startup tones with soft flute music that made everything feel oddly ceremonial. He sat up slowly. Zelna was standing at the helm, eyes locked on the glowing display, fingers tracing symbols that shifted too fast to follow. You slept. I passed out. Your body needed it. I was emotionally mugged by you and your cybernetic pheromones. Of course I needed sleep. She did in turn. We're being tracked. By 17 bounty nodes. 3 death cults. 1 romantic rival. I'm sorry, what? The rival is personal. I'm honored. She stepped aside. The display shifted to a map of galactic zones, and each one was blinking in the wrong color. Red, blinking, and slowly converging. Milo sighed. Well, we've pissed off the universe. That didn't take long. You activated me. That makes you either sacred or expendable. Why not both? Zelna faced him. You still don't understand your role. Enlighten me. You're the first human whose neural pattern matches the forgotten link, an imprint used by my creators. My kind responds to your instincts. I'm a universal override code in sweatpants. Your simplicity is effective. I've been called worse. She walked toward him. You're not just compatible. You're catalytic. Meaning? You don't control me. But you influence what I become. He blinked. So if I freak out, you freak out harder? Yes. If I flirt? Results may vary. He paused. This whole galactic mess is built on emotional mirroring? Organic synchrony. Emotion is interface. No wonder Earth is suddenly valuable. We're walking emotional disasters. She didn't laugh, but her expression twitched. Your species feels everything too loudly. We call it being passionate. Some call it volatile. He stood up, stretching. So what happens now? We hide in a nebula and wait for your enemies to forget you exist? No. We send a message. I'm guessing that doesn't involve a handwritten apology. We show them you're not afraid. Oh, I absolutely am. You'll fake it. I can't even fake liking cilantro. She touched his chest. The interface behind her lit up. The ship responded not to her command, but to his pulse. The core dimmed, then glowed again. Rhythmic. Matched to him. Zelna whispered. Do you feel that? Yeah. Terrified. This is what I was made for. Your glowing war machine is synchronized with my nervous system. What could possibly go wrong? The galaxy could obey you. That's the worst idea I've ever heard. Then it may work. Milo blinked. That actually sounds like Earth foreign policy. She turned back to the console. Broadcast initializing. Prepare your speech. What speech? You're going to address the network. Tell them you are my bonded partner. Claim your right as emotional sovereign of the Firebone line. I can't even emotionally handle customer service calls. Good. It'll seem authentic. Milo exhaled and stepped forward. A dozen glowing nodes blinked in sequence. Transmission windows opened. Creatures from across the stars stared back. Silent. Curious. Many looked like they wanted to eat him. Some looked like they already had. He raised his hand. Hi. I'm Milo Vance. Earthborn. Species human. Recently bonded. The silence remained. He cleared his throat. I know some of you are hunting us. Or want to anyway. I get it. She's dangerous. Probably always was. But guess what? So are we. A few murmurs. A tentacle twitched. Humans may not have plasma fangs or memory-stitching nanites, but we've got something worse. We improvise. Badly. Loudly. Constantly. And sometimes that chaos works. Zelna watched him quietly. You think I'm the weak one in this pair? Good. Keep thinking that. We're experts at being underestimated. It's how we got this far. You don't fear us because we're strong, you fear us because we don't know when we're supposed to lose. The windows blinked off, one by one. Zelna looked impressed. You're learning. I winged that entire speech. They believed it. That's even more concerning. She moved beside him. Your chaos has value. Yeah, well, my heart's going to explode from the stress. Is that valuable too? She placed her hand over his. Your body is fragile. But your presence is stabilizing. Do you ever say anything normal? No. He sat down. So what now? We just drift through space while everyone recalibrates their opinion of humans? No. We lead. Milo rubbed his face. I was an underqualified translator 3 days ago. Now you're a myth. He paused. That's ridiculous. That's reality now. So what? I give orders and you do the hard part. I advise. You choose. That sounds terrifying. It is. He sighed. All right. Then my first royal decree is we take a nap, eat something spicy, and maybe invent a new galactic holiday called Please Leave Milo Alone Day. Approved. He blinked. Really? You need sleep. And fuel. And stability. You're a weapon with legs. I'm a nervous wreck with snacks. She leaned close again, voice a low hum. That too. He smirked. You keep whispering like that and I'll start thinking you enjoy this. I do. Even the part where we're probably going to die. Especially that part. Milo smiled despite himself. You're intense. You're alive. For now. For longer than you think.